be at work, just doing a house job. Nobody was communicating, and it's just now it's all flying.
I'm not hearing anything from my end. This is Dennis Thompson.
We're gonna get started with the consent agenda in just a second.
Okay.
Oh, did you want to turn on your mic?
We'll start the consent agenda with item C2. C1 was continued. Classen addition and the comments, it's like the applicant's here, Dennis Thompson, hi. The comments were nice project and improvement to existing building. Addition is modest, mass bulk and scale is appropriate, and landscape plan is appropriate. So Dennis, is there anything that's changed since the last time we saw this?
No, we've just completed the drawings. There've been some minor changes. If you would like to see the elevations, they're on A3, sheet A3. Quite a few sheets to go through. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Would you know particularly what page that would be on?
You can just scroll through all of them, then we can tell you.
Well, you can look at the landscape plan now.
We'll look at landscape really quick.
We had a pool in the previous proposal, and now we have just the hot tub, but very little change other than that. And Nakos is here if there are any questions about it.
Correct. I'm here to answer any questions.
Any changes to the hardscape from other than the removal of the pool?
The removal of the pool was replaced with some flagstone with planted joints. And then near the ADU, there's a flagstone on slab. The spa is surrounded with a wood deck that's slightly raised by about 18 inches off grade.
Okay, was there a layout plan before this planting plan?
There should be, yes. L-dash
eyes on it for a second.
1.0.
And Nikos, are you proposing any landscape lighting?
I believe we are. That should be shown on L-5.0 or 4.0.
Okay, we can go back to
Yes.
that. Let's see, yeah.
Oh, that's 5.0?
Sure, yeah. Just to get it on the screen. Oh, look at that. Wonder who did it. I don't see L-5, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We just need to
Okay.
confirm
Then
this
I guess
excited.
we're not proposing any lighting.
Okay. And then we can go to, I think Dennis said A3 for the elevation changes.
Yeah, it's quite a few pages up from here. There's a light fixture.
Oh, okay. Will that light fixture be modified to be nightscape friendly?
Yes. There are the elevations. So the only changes since your preliminary approval, we got a chimney shroud. We've got a color scheme, so it's all white siding and plaster, gray windows, and a gray roof shingle.
And sorry, can we go back to the light? Just, is there a note on there that it'll be dark sky and nightscape friendly?
On the light fixture,
Yeah,
I am not sure that there is.
okay. In Mission Canyon, we have that note, right? That the light fixture will be modified to be of the bulb. I don't think it'll hold them up. It comes out in plain text.
Yeah, they can make a note and have it planned, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
we can still give approval and just say to add that note. Okay, just scroll the rest of the way through that really quick. Any other changes, Dennis?
No.
Alex, did you want to say anything else? We didn't have any specific comments. Okay, so Dennis will approve it in the normal agenda and we'll just have that one condition to add a note to modify the light fixture.
Understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. You guys, everybody ready? Okay, so let's go ahead and call to order the SBAR meeting of December 15th, 2023. Beginning with item number 1, public comment. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda for today, then please raise your hand or step forward. Okay. See no one, move on to item number 2, the agenda status report. Jonathan, any changes?
Items C1 and item number 2 have requested to be continued. We don't need a motion on either of those items. They just ask to be continued to the next agenda.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, we'll now review the minutes from the last meeting of December 1st. It's up there.
Appreciate a little bit of your help with this one.
Oh, because you did it.
Well, it was me and Joe that did it, but he was kicked out of the meeting with the whole audio issues that we were having. So I believe that the consent agenda was approved by Alex and Kaylee, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so we can unhighlight those. Oh, I'm sorry, we can go back to the comments.
Oh, that's fine.
Ruben alterations.
Just a question about 1C. Geodesic dome is well executed and helps make the project successful. Is that what we said? Is that, yeah. That wasn't an existing building, right?
Existing,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
that was
yeah,
my
yeah,
comment.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
thought it was an interesting treatment.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Oh.
I think we emphasized to show any modifications proposed in their next submittal versus, I don't know if there's enough clarification on the comment.
Let's say A covers that.
Does it fully cover? Okay.
Return with more documentation, site photos, updated drawing, demonstrate existing and proposed.
Yeah,
Detail.
the thing with this item is that they don't want to make any change. They want to legalize everything that is existing. But, we need to see more of what it is
Okay,
because.
maybe
yeah,
that covers it well enough then.
But
Mm.
detailed is not the right word
Yeah.
there. So,
Existing and proposed,
work scope. Or,
Maybe we should ask the word as built with site photos of each as built building because they are built without permits. That's really the issue.
updated drawings that demonstrate as-built conditions and proposed improvements.
Yeah.
Wasn't the group kind of making comments supporting the tower on that one building?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't make
Yeah,
it any.
Potential modification or anything?
yeah, so the board supports any effort to maintain the existing tower element,
That exceeds the height limit, right?
right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
exceeds the height limit, yeah. Got that, Joe?
Yes, I got that.
Okay, anything else for item 1? Move on, item number 2.
Second story, right? I'm not sure if comment A, existing building is not well integrated into the landscape.
I-
That doesn't seem relevant. Right?
I think the best comment is D, that about considering an alternate layout. Because we started maybe saying good things about it, but then we realized that there are the alternative suggested on item D
Mhm.
is a superior design and the applicant seem really supportive of that.
Mhm.
I agree. I think we should eliminate A.
Mhm. I also had made a comment about, say the opportunity to drop the elevation of the portion on the south. Was it the south side?
Yeah.
Yes,
Consider lowering the deck elevation on the south side to integrate better with the architecture. And also at the end of D, consider cross bracing on deck to support structure. That's not the comment. The comment was to have the structural engineer review it so that there's a realistic presentation of what it may look like aesthetically. So integrate the engineering into the deck to reveal the aesthetic solution. Something like that. Anything else? Okay,
You know, using the word consider all the time here, you know, like on D, consider trellis for shade on south side of deck and cross bracing on deck to support structure. You know, just put a comment after deck and strike consider out.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah, we
to
just-
be-
we just changed that whole last sentence anyway. Like,
Check that out.
we changed the last
Where
sentence.
was it?
I'm not sure. All right, anything else? Okay, move on. Yeah. No,
Bit of.
Emerson Street. Oh, it's the one in Summerlin. With the,
it was a very minor project.
yeah,
I'm fine making the motion. Okay,
I don't think it matters.
okay.
Did we?
Okay. Number 4. That was it? Oh, yeah. It was the good old days. All right, do we have a motion to amend the minutes?
I so move.
Okay, second. Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, 1 abstention. Motion carries. Moving on, item number 4, SBAR members informational briefings.
I need to leave by noon today.
I have to recuse from the first item.
Oh, yeah, I have to recuse from item number 7. Okay, well, I kind of need that.
You didn't have a chance.
All right, that's it, Ben. Thank you. Item 5, staff update.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I don't have any updates for everyone this morning.
Okay, very good. And then we have the consent agenda for, there was one item, Ms. Grubb.
Item C2 was approved with the note
To
modify the proposed architectural light fixture to be night sky friendly.
okay, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to our standard agenda. Yeah. The voting for the, I think we do that first meeting of the year. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so here we go. Item number 1. 4135 Lago LLC Residential Addition and Accessory Structures. Request of Kurt Magnus, agent for Joanna Sheffen, for a final approval of an addition of 1,071 square feet to the existing residence, new garage, which both require setback modification to reduce the 75-foot required front setback and 25-foot side. Let's see, this is located at 4165 Lago Drive in Hope Ranch. Last heard July 7th of this year. We have a few comments I'll read through real quick. So comment A from SBAR, reconfiguration of the entrance is an improvement. Consider revising the shape of the windows in the hallway facing the driveway for better presentation and bolster landscape under the windows along the blank wall to soften. B, plant palette seems appropriate. C, west elevation and entry need more study. Look at landscape planting and variation in finish or detailing. D, look at adding dimensional trim and lumber to front entry to create architectural detailing consistent with style of house. So we have our applicant here, sir, your name for the record.
Greetings, I'm Kurt Magnus, architect for this project.
Okay, hi Kurt, go ahead and show us what has changed in a few minutes.
So if we could go to the elevation sheets on the west elevation. This is the existing elevation, so scroll one more. There, one. West elevation is where the trees are indicated. Can you zoom in a little bit on that elevation with the trees?
I can't hear you so well.
Can you zoom in a little bit? There you go. Thank you. So the difference between the last time is that Bob added 4 more trees along that elevation to help break up the linearity of it. I also, at the suggestion of the board, added a wainscot along the elevation there, kind of a 1.5-inch reveal plaster. The gates are shown on each end of there's the car gate and then the pedestrian gate on each side of the building. And then I guess if we can go to the landscape plan. It's way down at the back. It's like the last sheet.
Excuse me, let me ask you a question. How about we're looking at the elevations. How about the adding dimensional trim and the lumber to the front entry? What did you do to the front entry?
I added that and the wainscot
Oh, the wainscot, okay,
and
okay.
we went to got final from this the Oak Ranch Architectural Board of Review, and they one of their requests was to add those additional trees. And again, we're looking at just that one elevation and the encroachment into the building into the
Right.
road setback along Camino Medio. Sorry, my renderings, I guess, jammed up the. Hi.
Are we having the same issue with the size of the files? Yeah.
Well, if you, okay, well, if you want to look at those photographs, that's the sheet just below. All right, so we'll scroll up a little bit and we'll get to the landscape plan. There, okay, so that's it right there. So on that island area around there is a existing redwood tree that's half dead. You got an arborist report saying that we could take it down. It's okay with Hope Ranch Architectural Board Review. We're replacing it with three new trees in that island, as well as the 4 trees were added next to the house.
Know what those trees are by chance?
Um,
Maybe we can we,
It's okay, we can try to zoom in.
you can answer that simple question, but can we zoom in
they're
on
flowering
that
trees.
list maybe?
It's all Latin to me.
Carpus, no. Magnolia Little Gem, probably, and Lagerstromia, Tuscarora,
Maybe the next.
probably.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Anything else?
So if you go back to the plan a little, the landscape plan a little bit, sure. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of new planting going on there. Helps soften the view of the house. There's a lot of base planting going on along the house to help with the linearity of the elevation. The new turnaround driveway, which has flagstone.
Yeah, well, okay,
Well, you guys.
that's probably sufficient. Thank you. So questions from the board? I have a question. Can we go show I think it's on the next page, the entry gate. I think new entry gates in Hope Ranch have to be, what is it, 50% open? Oh,
I think that's not the main driveway though. This gate.
uh-huh. And that makes a difference?
I think it does.
Anybody else know?
This is a secondary gate to the backyard, and so it doesn't have to be that 50.
So they allow it to be, okay,
Yeah.
more opaque. Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? If so, please raise your hand or step forward.
And we have received no request to speak on this item.
Okay, so we'll bring it back to the board for comments. Anyone?
I think it's well designed, well detailed, totally acceptable. I make a motion for final approval.
I'll second.
Second, just had one comment, for in the future and actually before you go into the building department, just remove that landscaping that's shown on the elevation. I think you put the 4 trees in there, but we need to see bare elevation.
Right, I had that bare before and it looked pretty bare, so I just kind of wanted to
There you go.
show you that it's not as bare as it looks, so.
Yep, hence the comment. So we have a first and a second. All those in favor? Right,
I,
opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item 2 has been continued, so we'll move on to item number 3, the Glazer Misculin Living Trust Garage, request of Brett Ettinger, agent for Glazer Misculin Living Trust for conceptual review of a modification approval to construct a portion of new garage of 693 square feet in the front setback in the same location as existing garage per the approved set of drawings at 915 Camino Medio. And we have our applicant here, sir, your name for the record.
Brett Ettinger.
Hi, Brett. I'll set a timer here for 7 minutes. That ought to be enough.
Alrighty.
And we'll see what happens. So whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. Good morning to all of you. Happy holidays. This project is actually fully permitted, approved, and under construction right now. You might recall you saw it about 2 years ago for a minor modification to parking in the side yard setback that you supported. Basically, we're here today because we tried to design the house and it was permitted around the existing garage, which you see on the left side of the site plan there with an X through it and a bunch of blue notes pointing to it. It was approved as an existing non-conforming garage with about 7 feet extending into the front yard. Our goal was to try and utilize that existing slab and a portion of those walls to save our client a little money. However, if you can scroll to the next page, please. There's just a clear indication of what was permitted and hatched in blue is the section that we're looking at today to request modification approval. If you can go to the third sheet, please, we can show you some pictures and a rendering of what was originally approved. Those photos at the top, as we started to do demo, the slab shot. It's cracked in many places. There's actually no rebar. So we were put on hold and we're here to basically request that we can construct the project as it was originally permitted. However, that means tearing out that slab and rebuilding from scratch. The rendering at the bottom is what was originally approved. There are no proposed changes to the exterior at all. It's just, I guess, an administrative thing that we're
Okay. Yeah,
having to go through.
that's probably enough information.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
we're firm believers in rebar.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board or no, any public comment from anyone? No sheets, nobody online, no comments from the board? Nope. Anyone want to make a motion?
No motion. I
Oh, no
think-
motion, but
I think we need to continue this to
Consent.
consent for preliminary and final after the modification is granted.
Right.
And the board support the modification because it's an existing condition and it's
Just
was previously approved.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
the structural aspect
Okay.
of a previously approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.
Moving on, item number 4, Summerlin Gas Station sign, request of Galeray Macon. Did I get it right this time? Nice. Agent for Fuel Depot for a further conceptual and preliminary review of a variance of a pole sign setback and height. Sign certificate of conformance and coastal development permit for elimination of landscape planters between the fuel pump island and sidewalk and changes to exterior lighting. At 2285 Lily Avenue in Summerlin, last heard November 3rd of this year. And we have our applicant here. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Galeray Macon.
Great.
So we are here with more information and clarifications and also just some cleanup from the last time with regards
Go
to
ahead.
lighting.
Read through those comments real quick so that we're,
Okay, great. And I have them listed in the presentation.
you address them one by one. So you can go ahead and take it from here.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the first comment was for staff to review the community plan to confirm whether the photometrics meet standards for light spillover to adjacent properties and for us to return with additional information. So we have a photo of the canopy lights that show shrouds that were added, and also a lighting controller is part of the lighting plan. And then we have a photometrics plan that's part of this presentation further down. But I pulled up the area from the frontage that shows the foot candles at the property line. And the zoning ordinance for both the Summerlin Community Plan and the design guidelines, it just asks for them to be fully shielded to minimize glare and light spill onto offsite areas. There's not an actual foot candle requirement. It's mainly just to minimize the spillover.
Yeah, can we see that? I mean, so the planner could not verify anything because there are no strong guidelines. It says light spill, but it doesn't say what constitutes a light spill. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes, and Joe is on if you wanted him to add further clarification. Joe Dark.
What are the numbers? I cannot see them from here. What is this?
There,
Property line?
it looks like it's about 5.
4.9 looks like the highest.
4.9, well, that is spillage. I think in the city of Santa Barbara, I think they have what, half, 0.5, I think it's supposed to be, or 0 or 0.5 at the property line. 5 is a spillage indeed.
And then if you look at the next slide, we provided some photos of just what that looks like.
So this,
So you can see the light pretty much stops at the station, and there are just security reasons for having a lit gas station. So this is at like full brightness before the lighting control was put in. So you can see just what that looks like. Yes.
This is without the shrouds? Or
with
the shrouds.
so the photometric plan was done with shroud, once the shrouds were in
Correct.
place at 100%.
At 100%, yeah.
And you're proposing that it be kept at 58%?
Correct.
So how is that
It
enforced?
goes from 58% when a car pulls in, and then when the car leaves, it dims down to 35%.
Automatically?
Yes, that's what the lighting controller.
Do you have a photo of the 58% and?
No.
Okay. All right. What else?
Then the next slide goes into the second comment regarding the safety concern that your board had. We've studied it, and we weren't able to come up with a good option, and what we're proposing is really what has been in existence for decades. And I try to, the picture on the left is what the prior station had. The fuel pumps are in the same location, and we'll work with building and safety if there are safety comments that come from Public Works or the Roads Division. If they want to put in something in the public right of way, or we're happy to adjust, but we're not proposing it as far as a aesthetic component.
I know what I was wondering, a question for staff. Are we able to encourage the county to do something in that sidewalk? Because it's off their property. Is there a way to?
Mr. Chair, we can pass comments along to Public Works to see if they have any plans in place for that. But I mean, that would be, it's not something that the applicant would generally pay for, so I don't see that probably happening unless there was like some funding source to do that.
Okay, I mean, the big concern that Val brought up last time was the fact that there is a danger there of people pulling in and out of the gas station and using that sidewalk and the conflict there between them and pedestrians. So it
Right. So I
seemed-
get that. I think the comment that I would have is just that's something that maybe the planning commission would look at, but or like the land use component of it. But from an aesthetics review board, the focus really should just be on the aesthetics of the site and less on the safety aspects of the use itself.
Okay.
I mean, let's talk about this issue. That what other solutions are there? I mean, it could be a low wall with some planters on top or pots on top or something like that, so it doesn't take much space. There might be some other solutions rather than leaving it bare. Right? Is that right? What do you propose? Like nothing?
You zoom in on that lower.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I think you need some discipline there to separate the sidewalk from the drive there. I think it's obvious.
So, but the thing is, I mean, there isn't room on their property to do that. You can see how tight it is right here. And if we put planters right there, it's just not enough room for cars.
What about an 8-inch wall at the property line, maybe 30 inches high, and then with some kind of pots on top or something like that, or brick or some kind of separation?
It's like a wall along here.
You put a wall there though, is somebody gonna open that car door into a wall? I mean, that's
But
not.
how wide is that space?
Drive into it and over it and
How wide is that space between the pumps and the property line? How wide is that space?
From the fuel pump to the right-of-way line, I'd have to check, but I think it's about like 10 feet.
so it seems that the location of the solution would be here in the sidewalk, and that's a county property. But there's no plans to do anything, so I don't see that there's enough room on this property. I mean, we've been over this 5 or 6 times with these guys, so I'm sure they've studied it at length, and I don't see a real solution on their property. So it seems, I don't know. Anybody have
Do you
any
feel like if
suggestion?
you raise planters bolted down on the sidewalk side would keep people from passing each other? Like it, because the concern is someone would drive onto the sidewalk to pass the other car, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they
Biggest-
have.
Like maybe a curb? How about the curb? That would let you open the door and
Just
What is it?
drive over
It's
it.
a curb, a trip hazard, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
hanging out on
trip
the
hazard
side of the
and-
road like that.
Vehicle damage, driving over it. I could just see that happening all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
It's just a really constrained spot to.
how was it before? Was it always like this?
Yes, if you look at the photo to the left, that's the
They had
prior station.
old photos
the
of
left.
the existing before. Yeah, there it is.
That illustrates why you need something there.
I mean, bollards, but those are just gonna get hit. and
Yeah.
ugly. So,
I would,
all right, well,
would
let's,
would a strip of plush paving change
Well,
be helpful?
thought about that, but there's already a paving change, asphalt to concrete, so I think it's just.
Right. Not much result. Yeah.
It's a trip hazard.
we just talked about that. People are just gonna drive right over.
And people will trip
Damaged
on it.
cars and.
Yeah.
Well, maybe just a curb.
But people will trip on it, cars will drive into it.
Okay, so anyway, let's let them finish their presentation. That's just one of 3 things, right? What else are we looking at?
The main, the main reason why we're here, the price sign is the next item. And so the comment was, it was sort of split on a monument sign versus what the proposal here is to replace the sign on the pole with a new price sign lowered 2.5 feet. And we have Matt here from the Ag Commissioner's office, and he can speak to what the rules are, so we can all be clear on what our requirements are to meet the standard. Did you want to?
Yeah, where is the sign? What is the proposal?
If you go to slide 8.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Matthew Mason. I'm with the Agriculture Commissioner Weights and Measures Office. I'm the manager for the Weights and Measures Program in the county. So I reached out to our state partners on the interpretation of Business and Professions Code, last it on a second, 13531. So the code states, the advertising medium shall be clearly visible from the street or highway adjacent to the premises. So I emailed our state partners, and they replied back to me yesterday. I got the email in front of me, so I'm just going to read the response. The station must have an advertising medium clearly visible from the street or highway. The legislative intent behind the advertising statutes is for the consumer to make an informed decision before entering the business establishment. And then I also sent them some photos of the area of the station from the street. Based upon a review of the photographs provided, a simple solution would be to mount the current blue advertising medium on the existing standard pole, replacing the older yellow advertising sign. Another suggestion is to add additional signage on the property in the planter near the tree near the entrance to the business, referring to the western side of the business. The other entrance to the business.
You see that site plan?
Is there, I don't know if there's a photo of it. So it's the opposite end where the existing pole is. So that's the other alternative from the state.
Galleria, can you?
Yes, if you go to slide 5. The suggestion or the alternative is to have 2 signs. So one where on the corner on the far right photo, and then another one in the planter where the speed limit sign is, but that's off-site. So that's in the public right of way. And those were, so the alternatives that we got from the state is what we're proposing, or to have 2 signs. And one of the locations we couldn't even really use because it's in the public right of way.
And those would be more like monument signs.
Yes, but we need 2 of them because you can't put just one monument sign on the one side.
So one pole sign where it's currently located, or 2 monument signs, but one in a weird spot.
Right.
Okay.
Can I see it in the site plan? Where would they be? You need to present better graphics that we can really say A or B. I don't see them right now.
The next sheet.
There's renderings.
And we got the word from the state interpretation just yesterday, so I wasn't able to include it with the presentation. But if you look at the site plan, the planter next to the 3 parking spots.
Which can you point?
Off-site.
14
If
apparently.
you go off-site.
Cycle down through the renderings.
So where is the pole? The pole sign is? Yeah, okay. And the two monument signs would be where?
Would be one located near the pole sign and then another one off-site right there, correct?
And how tall would those be? The monument signs? What are you proposing?
I think it would be the 5 feet.
Yeah.
5, 6
Like
feet.
The Montecito one for the.
Mhm.
I see.
Okay,
And the proposed pole is significantly shorter than the existing one that's there.
Yes,
but it's 12 feet, isn't it? It's 12 feet high and it's also wide as well.
yes. If you go to the ATE study renderings,
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we need to better proposals of A and B.
if you go to the next slide,
proposed.
please.
And also, I'd like to have better idea of the photometrics. How much is the light spill allowed in this project?
It's all in it's in there. We just need to
Yeah.
get to it. So what are we looking for right now?
Go to the next slide, sorry.
So that's the pole sign or the monument sign?
Okay,
Pole sign.
And how thick is that?
So
pole s- what's
that's the
width?
rendering of where the existing sign is and what the proposed sign.
Yeah.
Do you see what she's
So
saying?
basically this is the existing sign up above that comes up here with a big pole on top, right?
Yes, and that would be all removed.
This level.
Go down one more sheet, if you zoom in on it, you can see it even better.
There you go. Okay.
So there would be a gooseneck light and the remainder of that pole from above and that section would all be removed.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I didn't see this picture. Okay.
And then you want to take a quick look at the photometrics or? There's a whole sheet with the actual
Mhm.
plan, right? Where is that?
That is, slide. Actually, it's one of the first ones.
You got 9 maybe?
Yeah. This time we included all of them. Yes, slide 9.
And this is at 100% intensity, right? Turn it
Correct.
up. Okay.
Yeah, get closer.
Zoom in.
Get closer to the proper, yeah. Yeah, there you go. In the front, on the right of way.
So that's good. The highest is like 4.9 right about here.
But that's on the north side. That's not, oh, that's the right of way. Yeah.
That's the street, yeah. Or that's the sidewalk, I assume, right here, yeah?
Correct, that's the sidewalk.
So,
Okay, all right.
anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, questions from the board? Besides the ones asked already.
Maybe the only question I have is how wide is that monument sign and the pole sign? What's the width of that? Yeah, there was, is that, what, a foot or so or what?
18 inches.
18, why is it so wide, by the way?
Right here.
There are requirements for sizing of price signs, and we meet the requirements of the,
Looking deep, right?
Yeah,
How
no,
thick is it?
the thickness, yeah.
18.
oh, at our last hearing, we tried to explain there's a rolling mechanism as part of the sign so that it's not internally lit and
Oh, so
that
that's
someone doesn't have to
what-
go and physically
Okay,
move the.
Okay.
and it's all metal, the box is all metal?
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's move on to public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? If so, please step forward, raise your hand or. Sure.
move it up a little bit.
No, the other way. Fine.
Okay, that concludes public comment. We'll bring it back to the board for our comments. Frosher?
Well, I think there might still be an option to do the change of paving idea, but do it as a texture. You know, kind of the way the, crosswalks. Yeah, something that is at least a notice to cars and pedestrians that there's a change of venue between the sidewalk and the cars maneuvering in the gas station. It could, so essentially a flush strip that's maybe 8 inches, a foot wide, that's textured.
There are the like little dots that like, so that if you release your car would bump.
Yeah. Right. Oh, really? Those are high enough to trip on? Well, if you do more like the crosswalk texture, those are not trip hazards.
Specifically.
True.
Sighted people. so
True.
Trick people into thinking that it's something that's not.
Mm.
I think paint is probably safer
Mm.
alternative. Highlighting delineation.
Yeah, that could work too. I think it's just something that gets people's attention that there is actually a transition there.
It's to study non-trip hazard.
Josh?
Oh, Josh.
Yeah.
Discussion, maybe, I think they have to do some research here. I think there's transportation, people that can talk to them about appropriate elements for the public, so maybe it's like we just make a comment for a non-trip hazard.
Right. Transition line, whether it's with
Either
paint
painted or material.
or material.
that indicates the, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see in that last
They can-
letter that it said they're looking for locations for commemorative benches in Summerlin? That was the last thing on the end of that letter. Why don't we say that we support them putting a bench in the sidewalk
In
there?
the right of way. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's gonna see that, they can sit there, it doesn't obligate them into
Right.
having to build a planter on their property.
Right.
And say that we support Summerlin doing that right there. I mean, that
Yeah.
might be, yeah.
I sit on a bench in front of a gas station.
Well,
For the record, I'm not into that.
All right, let's keep this orderly here.
Sounds
So we're with Val over here. Anything else, Valerie, that you want to add?
Well, yeah, I think that the lighting needs to not have spillover beyond the, recommended amounts for property line. There's safety concerns, but there's obviously issues from the whole residential community up the hill.
Okay, just so we're clear too, I mean, that's photometric was at 100% intensity. It was 4.9 foot candle at,
At 100%.
it's going to be kept at 58%. So it's going to be considerably
Yeah.
less than
Well,
that.
it's definitely improved.
Okay, anyway, John,
Well, I think that I think that some things should be put there. I think the bench is a good idea. I think that bollards too is a good idea.
you fill out a form and
They're narrow and simple and would, serve the purpose. I also think that it would not be nice to see a study of monument signs, and see, you know, how they work. I think it would be a benefit to the community and to the street itself to have monument signs in lieu of that pole sign. Be my opinion.
Okay, Alex.
I agree with those comments. I don't have anything to add. It's been, by the way, this Summerland gas station has been a difficult project for us. Just seemed like the sign and the signage on the chimney before, and the sign facing the freeway before, and so forth. The whole process has been really difficult. I agree with the previous comments.
Ms. Grubb.
I think for the lighting, it would be good to come back with the photometric study with it at 58%. Really know what that looks like. I also would like to see the exhibit for the 2 monument signs and clarification on whether it's possible to put one in the right of way or if it's not possible at all. And then, what?
Go ahead.
I like Robert's comment about proposing bench locations or planters, even if they're not permanent in the sidewalk, but having that as the buffer between the two, or a painted strip. But it'd be nice to have a physical, like an elevated physical thing in the sidewalk side. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Richards.
Just a question. Did you say that the monument sign would have to be 5 feet wide to work in the
5 feet
location?
tall.
Oh, 5 feet tall? So my evaluation of this, proposing 2 monument signs in the public works planters is not only problematic for the applicant here to try to convince public works that it's not a hazard for some reason. I mean, vehicles need to go in and out of these entrances. I don't know how you can safely see visibility in and out of those spots by putting a sign there. And also, it's twice as much signage that's right along the street frontage as opposed to where they're proposing it. So I think that it is much less impact and less square footage of signage the way that they proposed it. And they're bringing the height of the pole down to the minimum height of how it's going to function. So I think that they have a good case to move their pole sign forward the way that it's proposed. I mean, they're trying to meet the requirements of what the state mandate, and people need to know the cost of gas when they go up there. So okay, I'd recommend that they should be able to move forward with it.
Mr. Bloomer.
So Robert just kind of said everything I was. Sorry. Robert did a good job of summarizing my thinking on it too. So I really agree with your comments there, sir. And about the suggestion for a bench or some kind of decorative element there, I think it's a good idea, but it just seems unsafe to like promote people sitting in front of a gas station, all that traffic, and there's no real barriers. I appreciate the suggestion from Mr. Wolpert. I think that's the right interpretation from his letter, but I just feel kind of queasy about promoting that. So I'm in favor of studying, figuring out a way to, like Valerie and I were discussing, some kind of painted or material delineation that's very obvious to help make that a clear demarcation. So and those are my comments.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I was just hoping to jump in here real quick, if now's a good time.
Go ahead. And we can't hear you so well, Joe. Maybe get a little closer.
Okay, yeah, is that better?
Better.
Perfect.
Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick comment on just the comments about the delineation between the gas station and the right of way. Just one, I think I think the comments really should be focused. It shouldn't be focused on safety, but it should really be focused on aesthetics. So that's just a quick comment. And then I'm a little concerned with the comments about requiring a study of placing the monument signs off-site. I think, I don't know if we would be able to force the applicant to put something in the right of way. So that's, I just kind of wanted to
Okay.
share my
Yeah.
concerns about that.
We can remove.
I agree. Okay. Then we can turn it back down again, maybe. Jonathan? Volume down again. Seems loud. Okay, so I agree with mostly with Josh and Robert that the sign, they've done everything they can. It's brought down. It's not intrusive. 2 signs would be worse. There's visibility issues. The lighting seems fine with the shrouds, especially with the reduction that would be maintained permanently, right? That 58%. And then aesthetically, yes, it's terrible not having any delineation, but there's not any room on site to do anything. So what I would do is encourage either the Summerlin board or the citizens of Summerlin, like they're not necessarily a bench, but to encourage them to take it into their own hands and to improve their own community and take some kind of proposal to planning commission to see if they can get some planters put in within that sidewalk in the right of way. Other than that, it seems like everything is very reasonable in this proposal. But it also sounds like we're a little divided. So we are here for concept and prelim. So I'll entertain a motion if someone wants to make one. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we did have someone come in last minute that wanted to make a public comment. So we'll open that back up for a 2-minute.
Mr. Chair.
So Pam Scott. Just give it to him. We'll pass it down. Over to the ma'am. Is this for this too?
Hi, my name is Pam Scott. And I'm a resident in Summerlin and have been trying to watch out for the community as this development has happened. And it's my opinion, and I share it with many others, that the real intent of the applicant is to elevate and orient a lighted sign so it's visible from the freeway. There is no justification whatsoever for Lily Avenue motorists requiring a 13.5 high elevated sign, nearly as high as the canopy, and high enough to provide full pricing signage to the freeway. It's not even directly facing the street traffic. If you look at the first sign, you can see what it looks like, the yellow sign before you exit the freeway. So I'm a commercial real estate broker for 40 years. I have the last 10 years experience in locating sites for gas stations. And their number one site qualification is to increase sales through visibility from the busy freeway before you can exit the freeway. So I showed you how before you exit, you'll be able to see this lighted pricing sign. And it's going to be lit 24 hours a day because he has the right to operate 24 hours a day. So the liquor store sign is off at 11, driving down the freeway. So, even though the operator claims he doesn't have good visibility from Lily, the last 2 pictures show that you can easily see a monument sign from both directions, both from the post office, I was at the intersection there, and from the other direction. And so it follows the rules of the state's weight and measures as other monument signs on other stations in the community all do. You don't see 13.5-foot pole signs. You can see how tall, the pole, the sign itself is not as high as the pole. The pole is 16 feet. So the sign will be only 3 feet below that pole. You can see how it relates to the canopy, and you know that the canopy is, nobody likes the canopy.
Okay, that's the 2 minutes.
Oh. I only have short.
Sorry?
Can I finish?
Just
1 minute?
the
The station's doing a ton of business and the Lily traffic isn't heavy enough to obscure the monument sign. Due to the owner's right to operate and with the pricing sign lit brightly to the freeway, his argument suggests he wants the same heavy volume 24 hours a day, which in village like Summerlin with its 2 lanes and its people sleeping at night will have negative consequences, particularly at night. Neighbors don't need the noise and disruption. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are back to the board then for, I think we've deliberated. We already did public comment, Tom. I opened it back up for one. We need to move on here. Any other comments from the board or a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to give this project conceptual and preliminary approval with the findings that, for one, the photos to me demonstrate that there's very little light spillover at full power, and they have a system that dims the power of the lights. I think that they're making every effort here to be respectful in terms of the lighting. It's a safety feature of the property. I'm gonna make the finding that this board cannot force the applicant to put signage in the public right away, particularly when it's a visibility hazard. And then I'm also gonna make the recommendation that the applicant works with the Summerlin board to potentially look at a bench or some way to meet this board's interests in trying to delineate between the property and the sidewalk.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion fails. Anyone else want to make a motion? Is there anything
Make a
that,
motion to continue the application for the applicant to study the board's comments regarding the simplification of the pole sign, of a single pole sign, maybe to reduce it in size or width or in appearance. And some proposal for the delineation between the parking area and the sidewalk and the public sidewalk. And third, a clarification as to what the light spill will be most of the time at the 58%, I think it was, volume of the lighting. Do you get that, Joe? Joe?
Yes, I got that.
okay,
We're gonna have any further discussion on this?
we can, we gonna need a second or,
I don't think we need a motion to continue the item.
oh, not from continuing, yeah, sorry. So go ahead, John, if you have,
Well, I think that
under discussion.
there's no necessity to have two monument signs. One is sufficient. You know, it works on Coast Village Road, on La Cumbra. You know, it just, the streetscape now in this day and age doesn't have, pole signs at every gas station. I mean, they're almost all monument signs, and they can have one monument sign in this case. I agree with the motion to continue this.
Oh, is that a second? Oh, sorry, never mind.
Can I just point out that, the planning staff said that we cannot mandate these people to try to put a sign in the public works planter, so.
Yeah, there's no way that's gonna happen.
So you're asking them to go through a process and then not be, it's unfair towards the applicant.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to also recommend perhaps bringing the applicant up and giving them an opportunity to weigh in on the request. My understanding is that they may not be willing to make those changes, and perhaps they're willing to take a denial at this point if the board is ready
yeah, I
to
mean,
make an action
that's
today.
sure, we'll give the applicant an opportunity if you want to respond.
Hi, thank you. I don't know what else we could study. I mean, we brought the ag commissioner and they've told us we cannot just have the one monument sign. So it's not what we're saying. It's the ag commissioner and interpretation from the state. So if you still just don't agree, that's fine. I don't think us coming back is going to provide any more information. So we'll just take a denial. Thank you.
Only reason I denied it was because I think of because of the light trespass, so I try another motion and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're asking for them to do another photometric. I mean, it's at 4.9 at the worst case. It's gonna be 58% of that when they come back with it. So it'll be about half. Like
So
a
quite a
two,
bit of
2.5 foot candle at the sidewalk. So, okay, but anyway, if you want to make another motion, see how that flies.
So okay, so to clarify, can we make a motion that they come back for prelim and final and just get conceptual today? Okay, so I'll make a motion that the project can come back for prelim and final with additional information on what the photometric study will look like with the dimmed lighting.
Make a motion.
That's what I just asked.
Make a motion for
I'm sorry.
preliminary approval.
Yeah, you
How do
don't,
we
there's
allow
not a
them to come
conceptual
back
approval.
for
You don't give
prelim?
them.
You say you continue to the next meeting and put it on the agenda for prelim and final.
Or you give them preliminary.
Okay, so,
Yeah, or preliminary now and come back.
okay, so I would say that they should be able to come back for prelim and final with additional photometric studies.
I just said that they're.
Well, they didn't say that about the photometrics.
Study anything.
Yeah.
Wasting everybody's time. Either give them a preliminary approval or deny them. No reason to have this conversation again.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to make a motion for preliminary approval, do it. Otherwise, somebody make a motion for denial, or we're gonna be here again.
I would just suggest that if we deny them, they're gonna go and appeal it and then they're gonna get approval. So and it's gonna make our board look like it's
So Alex,
unreasonable with the ability
this
of
half of the
evaluating something.
group over here are the ones in, turning it down. So do you have suggestions for how we can get through this? Because we're obviously divided here, so.
I think some of the concerns are more planning commission type issues and not aesthetic issues. So we could have a denial and let them work it out with the community at the planning commission level.
How's that sound?
That's what the applicant wants. They want a denial. Yeah.
No.
I'm sorry, one last comment. If you could maybe split the vote on just the pole sign and we can move forward with the pole sign, and then we're happy to come back and deal with the lighting for final approval. But we would just like a straw poll on the pole sign.
Mr. Chair, I would also make one comment. So if the board's concerns are truly mostly focused on items that are non-aesthetic, the evidence that the board should be using in the findings for making a denial of this project should be based on aesthetics. So that's really what's going to be evaluated at this board's level, and then what goes to the planning commission, or the variance itself and the land use entitlements will be reviewed separately. So those items are going to be reviewed. So I think my comment is really to ask the board to focus their comments and questions on the aesthetic components of the project. That is what's before the board today.
To clarify, that would be the design and the lighting, right? Those are both aesthetic issues, right?
That is correct.
Not the sidewalk division from the paving, that's not an aesthetic thing in your analysis?
Correct. If the planter issue could be an aesthetic issue if you raised aesthetic issues about it, but it sounds like the comments are all focused on a safety issue, which don't rise in our analysis to be an aesthetic issue.
Okay.
Could I amend my initial motion with the condition that they come back for final and give demonstration that meets the board's interest, that the aesthetics of the property are not negatively impacted by light spillover. And that might be an adjusted photometric study, but
Yeah, you probably need to start over with your motion.
Do make it all
It's-
again.
Okay.
so I'm gonna make motion to give conceptual and preliminary approval in relation to the signage, making the finding that one, we cannot force the applicant to put a sign in the public right of way, and that if they did put a sign in the public right of way, it would be a visibility hazard for vehicles coming in and out of their business. And I'm gonna make a motion to say that we accept the way that the edge of the property is dealt with between the sidewalk and the aisle along the gas area there, with the recommendation that the applicant work with Summerlin to potentially put a bench there or a planter or something in the sidewalk area. There is limited space there that would allow them to do anything. And then for final, I think that they should come back with an adjusted photometric study that demonstrates that there is not an aesthetic impact based on light spillover into the street there.
Okay, do we have a second?
Mr. Chair, on discussion quickly, just to simplify, just kind of clean that up a little bit. And I know we're laboring on this, but basically what we're saying is we're approving the single sign in the location it's at in a preliminary fashion, and then coming back for final to review the lighting aspect of that said sign. So
Correct.
the approval that
Not of the sign of the lights underneath the canopy.
sorry, okay, so so we're approving the single sign in the proposed location as is.
Yes.
We're basically making we're making an approval based on removing the planting strip and recommending that a painted or non-trip hazard delineation be made between the sidewalk and the property.
Correct.
And then requesting that the applicant return for final full board with revisions to their photometric study for the lighting under the canopy.
I think the photometric study should demonstrate at the dimmed 58% power and then the lower power as well. So you can evaluate
Okay, so
it at its lowest power.
just before, I'm willing to second the motion, Mr. Chair, but I want Joe to read back the motion so I understand what I'm seconding, because it's been a lot of discussion here. So Joe, if that's okay,
Yeah,
Mr.
Joe, can you read your comments or of the motion?
Yeah. Okay, so what I have is it's a preliminary approval, and that would be to return with updated photometric study showing dimming at 58%. And then I don't have the other percentage, maybe
30,
the applicant can give us
35%.
35, okay. So showing dimming at 58% and 35%, and demonstrating that no light spillover is beyond the property line.
No, it's not no light spillover.
Light spillover.
Yeah, demonstrating what the light
I
spillover
think it's
is.
to demonstrate that it's not a negative aesthetic impact on the community is the
Yeah.
role of this.
Got it, okay. Okay, so basically it's just demonstrating what light spillover will occur, okay.
Yes.
And then the next one is study ways to delineate site from right of way. So I don't know if you want to go into more detail on that one.
All right, I missed the
I
one.
think we want to add the comment that we're in favor, we support the removal of, I think what, I'm looking at the agenda, so I think we're being asked to support the removal of the landscape strip.
Correct.
And then our comment, so our approval is based on the approval of the removal of the landscape strip. Our comment is to come back with a non-trip hazard, appropriate either paint or finish on the surface of the concrete to delineate the public right-of-way sidewalk from the property.
Yeah, I was suggesting they could work with Summerlin to put a bench there or something.
I think
Either way.
I won't support that motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Some doing.
yeah, I support your amendment to the motion. Some
And-
type of delineation using paint or some other method at the property line.
Then Joe, did you catch the part of the motion that is that we're approving the single sign in its proposed location?
Yes,
Didn't hear that.
that is the project.
Okay.
That is
Yeah.
the proposed project. So
Yeah.
we have that.
You satisfied, Mr. Richards?
Sounds good.
Okay, Mr. Chair, having heard that, I'll second Mr. Richards' motion.
Okay.
So what's the status of the sign after all of that?
Approved as submitted. Okay, so we'll do a roll call. Jonathan?
Okay, I will go from right to left on the dais. Robert Richards?
I made the motion, so it's right.
Oh, left to right, I'm sorry. Valerie, Valerie Frosher?
Nay.
John Verdiak? Alex Pujo? Josh Bloomer?
Yes.
Chris Killian?
Yes.
Haley Grubb? Robert Richards? Motion carries 4-3.
Okay, we'll see you back here for final. Thank you. We'll now take a 5-minute break. Thank you. And then continue with the next controversial item, number 5. You can see the listing. They're bringing it out, so you might obviously not the lowest. There used to be
There's still.
As they were saying. Not their problem.
But there's now.
Yeah. How you doing, Tom? Not too good today. Well, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. I don't think they need it. Does that any? Just driving by is sufficient. We don't have to. Go in from.
Signage, and even though the staff said that it wasn't considered signage, so they had it in slam dunk as they go into the.
So they all do that. I mean,
Yeah, they got it after the board denied it.
you don't see those pole signs in town anymore.
I'm
Just
like,
don't.
if you're gonna deny it,
Seriously.
We changed our zoning from highway commercial. When we first started, community farms, all highway commercial, and excuse. The more neighborhood. Anyway. Yeah, well, it would have been good to speak on it, but, well, it was 3-4, that's the way it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Well, I think did you give him a letter, a note? Yeah, well, he should have given it to Chris.
The guy was trying to give me a hard time.
They really didn't even do that. I just made it the restroom, but
Wow, okay. Yeah, boy.
Well, anyway, I mean, I think that the improvement.
It's not even a final approval.
Well, this is. That wasn't done.
Morning, how are you? Good to see you again. You healthy? Are you well? Doing good. Yeah, I don't wanna go over here. Good. You doing good? Doing good. I just had my hip replaced 2 weeks ago. And you're here. I'm here. Oh, man. All right. Dedicated. Amazing stuff.
Applicants we passed.
They want you out there, right, too. They want you walking around. Oh, yeah. Not bad. See you back. Thanks for all your. Yeah, no. So.
Yeah.
That's hot. All the like, all the pot stuff and Park and Maria. Yeah, it used to be when those started coming in, and also this protein tea, like. Okay, we'll now reconvene the S-Bar meeting, beginning with item number 5, right? Yeah. Item 5, the Giaretta new single-family dwelling, request of Jamie Palencia, agent for the owner, Giorgio Giaretta, for preliminary and final approval of a new residence of 2,564 square feet on a vacant parcel at 736 Mission Park Drive, last heard November 3rd. If you guys want to step up and state your name for the record.
My name is Jamie Palencia. I'm with Soul Workshop.
I'm Giorgio Giaretta, the owner, one of the owners.
Welcome, gentlemen. There are many comments, which I'd rather not read through. So will you be going through these one by one?
Yeah, I'll just go through these rapid fire and
Okay.
hopefully we get them answered.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep it at 10 minutes. We've seen this. We know what we're looking at. Just
Yeah.
show us kind of what's changed. Whenever you're ready.
So I'm just going to go through, I'll say what we had, what the comment was, and then I'll answer. So A, architectural styles seemed appropriate. B, mass bulk and scale is acceptable. However, second story element should be adjusted to be more respectful to adjacent neighbors. So we've made many changes to the building to try to be more respectful to our neighbors. As a reminder, we can be as close as 5 feet to the interior property line. At the north property line, we are as close as 6 feet at the garage and a little more than 8 feet for the rest of the structure. We removed the roof deck at the garage. On the north elevation, we have removed some windows and made some windows smaller on the second floor. Our latest design removed the roof over the back terrace. We feel this significantly reduces overall profile, allowing more lights for our neighbor to the north. Overall, we feel we've made significant changes to the size, bulk, and scale and have compromised the architecture to the best we can to meet the goals of everyone involved.
Right.
And so if
We see that on the drawings.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go to,
Wait, on that sheet you were on, is that the previous design and the new design? Or is this, what are these two items here?
no, this is just showing what some details on the bottom level. I didn't want to,
Oh, I see.
the site plan too, cluttered.
So the top shows the roof but this is the same plan.
Exactly. It's the same idea.
Okay, you can.
Did you want me to go to? So let's go to the, sorry. Oh, you're right. I think you guys you do not have the latest version of our.
This was submitted from the planner. You are here for preliminary final as well, so.
When did you submit
When we've been in contact with the planner. Yeah, 3 weeks ago or more.
It was Veronica King.
who?
She is not online today.
She's not online. I assume it's significant enough that we need to see
Well, I mean.
Do you want to table this for a few minutes while we try and get in touch with her and get?
We can do that, or yeah, I mean, I think the elevation and the roof has changed significantly enough that you.
Okay, we should probably see the actual then. So we might go on to the next item and come back to you guys. If,
When we were pre-reviewing this, the roof was gone on the back balcony.
And it is, if you look on the, yeah, it is, but we actually removed the gable ends and made it removed the hips and we made it a gable end.
It has changed.
Even more than this.
so it's
The pointers don't work well on the screen.
These are the wrong drawings.
No, I know he's saying that, but they said they changed removing the
date.
roof from the back
you zoom in on
balcony,
that?
and this plan has that.
It kind of shows that, I mean, I don't think I think it's significant enough to change that.
I also didn't see landscape plans in there when I was reviewing it last night. Where there's,
Go to the elevation.
it's what? I'm sorry?
All of this has been
These are the old
submitted.
drawings.
Okay, so you do have landscape, so
We've got everything in there, yeah.
We see the arborist report.
okay, so can we get in touch with Veronica and let's table this item until we get the actual plans that we're supposed to be reviewing? And do you want to talk to her or should we have Jonathan do it?
Maybe
Out of the
Jonathan.
office today.
Veronica's out of the office today?
Office email.
You have her cell phone?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so Veronica is out of the office. I can see if the applicant wants to send the plans directly to me, I can take a look. The only issue is that if this is for preliminary and final approval, we would have to do kind of a full analysis to make sure that there's nothing new on the plans that that don't align with code.
I don't think, we're not ready for final. I think that might have been an error. We're
Would you be,
conceptual or preliminary at best.
okay, so Joe, would you be willing to let that slide if they're admitting that final is not a possibility and we could get preliminary, or do you still have to do a full review?
Considering the history with this case, I'm willing to allow that to occur, and then if there is any issues that we could just handle that through final approval.
Okay, so let's try and get these latest plans if you can. I don't know if you need to go back to your office or not, but send them.
Might be able to do it on my phone.
If I sent you a box link, would you be able to upload them and I can bring them to my office? Okay. Jamie Palencia, right?
That's correct. Gotcha. Can I also just say this? This is our fourth time coming back. And sorry?
Said congratulations.
Yeah. Only our fourth time. Yeah, yeah. And I know that, you know, this is a very possibly contentious site. I want this to be a very fruitful meeting. And if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I just feel like
would you rather
you're getting a reaction to something, and I don't want a reaction that's just sort of like off the hip. I want, you know.
Would you rather continue this?
Let me.
Oh, hold on. He. Yeah, gotcha. So with his worry, Jamie's worry is that we're going to see the new plans, but we haven't had a chance to review them yet either. So we're going to be reacting.
Let me talk to the owner, and then meanwhile, I'll go ahead and upload everything, and then I'll just discuss it with him.
You guys think we'll talk about it? Okay.
Thank you.
In the meantime, we'll move on to item number 6 for the request of Mr. Jeff Shelton for Nancy Law.
We said final approval. We're still talking about preliminary.
It was misagendized.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's not actually
it's for concept prelim.
Concept, so it is just for preliminary. Okay, so this is for final review of a new, why did you have all the contentious ones for the last meeting? Anyway, 2,541 square feet, 2-story, single-family residence with a garage at 2632 Montrose Place, last heard August 11th. We have the applicant here, sir, your name for the record.
Jeff Shelton, architect.
Hi, Jeff. Do you want me to read through these? Or do you want to address the?
I'll just walk through them if you want.
Sorry?
I'll walk through them.
Okay, great. Whenever you're ready. Whenever we're ready.
We are ready.
Maybe have our project up there, yeah. Okay, we saw you in August. I'll go through the comments. Very nice project, a good solution, size, bulk, and scale. We get to D, preliminary landscape proposal acceptable, return with details, and so that's what we've done. There was the E, and we can go through that on the landscape plans. But the main thing was you were looking at the kind of the east side there. And we had some stairs and there wasn't much room for planting. So we moved the stairs to the opposite side, the fire department access stairs. We moved them to the west, what we call them Santa Barbara, the west side of the building, so we could provide more room for the plants where you guys wanted them. And then Katie Klein added the plants there, some wax myrtle trees, is big a plants as she could given the fire department. So we did the best we can. The building is set down in there, so like 8 feet on one end. So the plants are starting high to begin with. So if you want to look at that sheet on the landscape plans, that we're talking about the left side. If you look at this elevation here on the bottom left here, we're talking about the plants on the left side of the building. Okay, on this one, we're talking about the plants on the right side of the building here, this narrow strip on the right side. I don't have a pointer, but right there. That's where we had stairs and there was just no room for plants. So we moved the stairs to the other side and added plants on the right side where you guys wanted them and where the neighbor wanted them. There was a landscape plan.
No, keep going. That's irrigation. We need we want the planting plan, right?
Yeah, there was a planting plan back at the end.
Oh, weird order. There we go.
So if you blow up that side, that was your main concern.
Go to the plan, zoom out, just scan over to the left, and then we'll go back so we can see which plants they are.
Right there.
Take
So there you can see, first of all, at this area, we've gotten rid of the stairs, so we got a lot more room and added the wax myrtles are the biggest trees there, given the fire department and closeness to the property line and the building. And once again, the building's set down there, so these trees will hide more of the building, just the upper floor.
Okay, can you go to the plant list?
Yes, sir.
And the stairs, of course, are on the left side now.
Well, top. Miraca californica, yeah, okay. Where are the Aeschylus? That's a big tree.
Yeah.
4 of them.
What is it with the trees?
Those. No. Okay. Anything else, Jeff?
Well, there are all the details you looked at before. If you need to look at them, the lamps are on there and they're located on the elevations. It's a galvanized lamp with light only going down. It's on page, I think, A4.0. But you looked at that before. That's all you asked for, and all the details are there that you exterior details are shown on the plans.
Right, 4.0, and that's on the landscape plan?
No, we were in architectural at that point.
That was 4.0.
A4.0, I think, detailed. Maybe right there.
Yes, sir.
And it's a lamp we make in the shop, and very simple galvanized lamp that the light just goes straight down, so you don't see it from the neighbors. And they're located on the outside the doors. It's typical building department locations, outside doors.
Okay, next one.
If you have more questions regarding the details we looked at last time, we're all sitting here.
Okay, colors, materials.
It's a Corten building, meant to just sort of go away on the hillside. And I guess the brightest thing is that front door, yellow door. And the ironwork, the guardrails are galvanized.
Okay.
And black windows.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Questions from the board? Anyone? No questions, public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? If so, step forward or raise your virtual hand. Okay, see, yes, we have one hand go up.
Raised.
Linda Kaplan. Linda, whenever you're ready, you'll have 3 minutes.
The elevations.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Linda Kaplan. I'm the owner and resident of the property right below at 1108 Palomino Road. Just a couple quick comments. One, obviously, still, concerned about the privacy issue for us and the neighbors, and hopefully that can be mitigated with landscaping. Secondly, another concern is about the removal of several hundred yards of dirt that should be controlled given the percentage of the slope. More than just a silt fence, we believe should be required as our garage is directly below and in the path of uncontrolled spoils. So that's during the construction project. And most importantly, number 3 is the most significant comment regards the plan for drainage or stormwater management. The current plan is from what we can tell inadequate and unacceptable and requires further study. If the intent is to retain rainfall on site, that water should be dispersed on upper portion of the property and not on the lower portion, as the overflow will directly impact my garage. As you know, even a light rainfall will generate thousands of gallons on non-permeable areas. Like that's what we have here, specifically on our sites here, cannot be expected to adequately absorb into the soil that does not percolate. I know there's been some study or report, but I'm just really concerned about the overflow. We're still having to mitigate currently from all sides of our property up here in Mission Canyon, and this particular area does not percolate water. The soil is clay, and so I just, I'm really concerned about the future risk, putting our property at risk and theirs. And I just need to, I believe it needs further study is required for that to make sure it's not going to impact us directly.
Okay, thank you. And just so you're aware, we are here to review the aesthetics, and those stormwater issues will be addressed during the review through the building department.
Okay, thank you.
So you can, talk to the applicant or the building department about that also. Anyone else from the public that would like to speak on this item? Okay, see no one, we'll bring it back to the board for comments. Mr. Richards.
No, I reviewed the plans. I think it's gone through the process. It's supportable. I don't think it's our role to evaluate the stormwater situation, so.
Ms. Grubb.
Yeah, I think the additional screening seems adequate given the fire requirements. And generally the plant palette looks acceptable.
Okay, Mr. Peugeot.
It's a good project. I have nothing to add.
Mr. Verdiak.
Well, I think it's a good project, and every bedroom has its own bathroom and a little deck. I think that's wonderful.
Okay, Ms. Frosher.
Yeah, I think all the issues have been addressed. It's ready for preliminary and final.
Okay.
Submitted.
Sounds good. Mr. Bloomer has stepped out, and my comment would just be, I like the original design better. Okay, anyway, so we're here for final approval if someone wants to make a motion.
I'll make that motion for final as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, we have our applicant here back from item 5. Did you guys make up a decision? You have the plans and you want us to review them? Okay. So we'll reopen item number 5. That's the Giaretta, your single family dwelling. We've already started the presentation, so I'll just have you, Jamie, continue. I think you were somewhere in the just second or third comment from.
Yeah, so Mr. Peugeot asked just sort of
Go back.
Look at some of the changes that I had outlined here. So if you can go ahead and go to the next sheet. Keep going. Yeah, you can see, if you can zoom up on the site plan to the top where the roof plan is. The roof had extended all the way over the rear balcony on the rear there where the cursor is. And we have removed that roof portion from the project. Which actually skips to or ties into the next comment, reduce second story elements. Second story balcony has privacy issues, restudy a master bedroom terrace to move away from the adjacent property line. Consider shifting master bedroom and terrace south towards center of property to cantilever over proposed deck and away from northern property line. Consider elimination of roof over master terrace.
Already done. It's a
Okay.
different project. It's the one on the mission.
Not for me.
I mean,
But that was it.
So we just addressed the roof over the terrace. We did remove that. But we think that the terrace over the rear, it's directed towards the pool. It's meant to be a peaceful place to reflect with the oak trees. And, we've worked so hard to sort of maintain that space. The master bedroom is modest in size. We studied shifting it over. We feel that the location and minimized second level size as designed creates the right harmony for the home owners and the existing conditions and a fair compromise to our neighbors. The master bedroom is already minimal in size, and shifting it over would significantly cut into the oak tree. And it could also and will also cut into the roof ceiling height that we wanted to have in the dining room and the kitchen area. Consider reducing size and moving master bedroom window to protect neighbor privacy. One of the things that we proposing was adding a edging along the property line on the north side to help in this. Let's see, we added bamboo edging on the north side of the property line. Along the elevation on the top right. We think this will help screening, and we've also already removed windows on the side and also reduce the size of windows on that property line. Restudy placement for E, restudy placement of pool to provide additional area for single family dwelling. Consider reducing overall width and shifting closer to the rear property. The owners would like, outdoor backyard space for landscaping and for the oaks needed for the mitigation plan suggested from the arborist. They love outdoors. They consider this essential. The backyard is the only part of the property where the owners can really have a private outdoor space. And so we'd like to keep it there. Remove wing walls above garages. And if you look at the elevation on the top, you can, to the far right is the garage. And there was this wing wall that sort of swooped down from the building over the garage. We've greatly reduced it by at least 2 feet. But we still feel that it helps sort of soften the edge of the building and the transition from the main portion over the garage. So we reduced it by quite a bit. Study ways to include articulation and structure to break up the second story wall property line. This sort of goes back to the original comment, or one of the comments about reducing the second story elements. I think there was a discussion about just taking the whole second area or the master bedroom area and shifting that back. And we just felt, as we studied the project, it didn't really help the architecture. And it also started to intrude into the area, one of the areas that we really wanted to keep sacred, which was the vaulted space over the dining room and the living room. But I think by bringing it back, which is what we did, reducing it from, or pulling it back from over the balcony area in the back, we've reduced the apparent mass of that space. Item E, restudy placement of, oh no, we just did that. Removing walls of the garage, sorry, study ways to include that. H, provide a complete site plan, update plans to include adjacent property structures on site plan. And so if we go to the site plan, if we can go back to that, you can see that we've added all this information. And really the only difference between what you had seen previously, I guess, and this plan is the addition or the modification of the roof that we did. It went from a hip to a gable end, but the site plan that you saw in this for previously, the one that you looked at before this set that you're looking up here is pretty much exactly the same. So the question was, yeah, that's fine. We'll shift between this and the one above it. Provide a complete site plan, update plans include. So you can see the adjacent structures above. The one above is about 18 inches at the closest point to the property line. You can see on the bottom, there's a garage that's a lot line, right on the lot line, and above to the east and also to the south there. All structures that are basically right on top of us. Item I, increase landscape buffer, step back decks from property line to allow additional landscape screening. We actually did that all the way around the property, to the south of the property, where the decks are. We pulled them out approximately 18 inches to allow for some sort of vertical landscaping to go into those places. So we did do that all the way around the project. Item J, board remains concerned with potential impact of project on oak trees. Arborist report to include analysis of impacts to both on and off-site oaks. Board recommends use of fewer, larger size mitigation oaks to be planted. Provide additional detail for how oaks with construction impacts to criticize critical root zones and how they'll be protected. So you now have an arborist report. One thing that we have agreed upon with the planner is that the arborist will monitor evacuation of foundations and monitor health of oaks in encroached areas for a minimum of 5 years and up to 10 years as required. We will remove oak tree number 6. It's at the bottom right corner, and we will replace it in kind, one-on-one, with the one on the top northeast corner of the project, right there. Provide additional details on hardscape materials to show whether they are pervious. The driveway will be pervious brick paver. The walkways will be gravel. The arborist report has detailed information on how all this stuff is being put together. Plant palette appears appropriate with the exception of oleander. The oleander is removed from the project. And as I said, if we can go to, let's go to the elevations, please.
Do you have landscape plans?
Yeah, they should, oh.
Okay.
You know what, I did not have that as part of my set, but they were submitted separately.
I don't think they were in the folder.
So they might be in the,
right?
They changed from last time we saw them.
They would have, yeah, because
did they change?
Yeah.
So the only change is that we removed the oleander and we added, as he mentions, the edging between our property and the neighbor property to provide more privacy.
You know what that hedge was?
The same as a bamboo like on the other side.
Bamboo, you said?
Yeah, the same as on the other edge.
On the north.
On
See
the,
the
on
landscape plan.
the south side will have the same as the north. And it's,
Wow.
I was providing the proposals.
Yeah. Not sure what's happening, but we came prepared. Let me just go ahead and finish my presentation and then you guys can decide how you want to proceed with that. Again, I just want to reiterate, if we can go to the elevations, please. Yeah, the one up top, there you go. We modified the main roof to be gable ends. We've also changed the roof pitch from 4 to 6, 12. The owner wanted to maximize the amount of PV on the roof. Their goal was to create as much renewable energy as possible and, make it as future-proof as possible. We will not be using gas on this property, so we wanted to get as much natural sun as we possibly can. I think overall, we felt we made a modest building that's trying to work harmoniously with the nature and the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, back to the board for questions. Anyone have questions?
Yeah, did you change the roof pitch? Is that what you said?
We did, yeah.
It was 4 and 12, and you changed it to
6 and 12.
6 and 12?
Yes.
Because on the second floor only, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and this is tile, is that what you're using?
Yeah.
Two-piece mission tile?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, public comment. Anyone from the public would like to speak on this item? I have 2 speaker slips here. Otherwise, you can raise your hand. I have 1 hand go up. So we'll have 3 minutes each. We'll start with Michael Guten.
Morning, Board. My name is Michael Guten, and I am the owner and 34-year-long resident of the house immediately to the north. I have attended and spoken at every SBAR hearing on this project. I am here once again to express my opposition to the conceptual design approval of this project in its current form. The proposed project will have an extreme adverse effect on my quality of life and to the peaceful enjoyment of my home and to the value of my property. The new building is over 23 feet high and runs mostly the entire length along my side property line from the middle of my house to the rear property line. The proposed 23-foot story building towers over my entire backyard and my bedroom windows, leaving me no privacy, and cuts off any views to the south and cuts off any sunlight. If the project was a single-story structure or less tall, or if the second story were offset to the south away from my property, then I could support this project. As currently proposed, all I would see from my windows and backyard looking south is a 23-foot wall of white stucco 8 feet away. To help mitigate the potential loss of sunlight into my front bedroom southern window, I request that the unnecessary looking wing structure located over the north wall of the garage be removed so as to allow me more view and sunlight. At a previous SBAR hearing, the board suggested that those wings over the garage be deleted from the design, but those wings are still shown on the current drawings. To ensure more privacy into my house and backyard, I request that the 3 north-facing windows on the second floor of this building be required to be constructed of opaque or non-see-through glass. I would like to be reassured that the stipulations in the Arborist Oak Tree Protection Report would be adhered to. For those reasons, I request that this project require permit compliance to assure strict adherence to the Arborist Tree Protection Report. I request that the SBAR require the following 5 conditions for eventually granting conceptual design approval to this project. 1, the unnecessary wing structure on top of the garage be deleted in order to allow more sunlight into my bedroom windows. 2, the 3 windows shown on the second story north wall of this house be required to be opaque or non-see-through glass. 3, a stipulation that the flat roof over the garage can never be converted later for use as a terrace. 4, permit compliance be required to assure strict compliance with the Arborist Oak Tree Protection Report. And 5, a stipulation that a potential future roof structure over the master bedroom terrace could never be built. In summary, I object to the height of this building and to the close proximity of the second story to my property. I could support a project with a single story or less tall house or an offset second story away from my property. The board's requiring conditions, I'm just done. The board requiring conditions 1 through 5 stated above would help to mitigate my concerns about this project. Thank you in advance for not approving this project in its current form. due to the severe negative impacts it would have on me and the other adjacent neighbors. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Nancy Bertelson. 3 minutes.
The proposed two-story house is not only taking away the space, sunlight, and privacy of the neighbors on the north side and south side, it will destroy the magnificent hundreds-old oak trees on the property that protect our whole neighborhood from air pollution. These trees can't survive a two-story smashed against their canopies, as the story polls showed. Tragically, when the county reduced side yard setbacks from 10 feet to a ratio, the county created a very dangerous situation, especially for narrow lots. Keith Ham wrote an article for this independent newspaper stating the vital need of defensible space around our homes. There is no defensible space between these three houses for firefighters and their equipment to defend our neighborhood. The space above the setbacks must not have overhangs in it. 740 Mission Park Drive is imprisoned 1.5 feet from the property line with ugly tall street pipes on the new wood fence. 732 Mission Park Drive should have a hedge, not a fence, on its property line. The advertisement for this lot reasonably said room for a small house. This two-story house is overwhelming for this lot. You can deny it on the basis of size, bulk, and scale and request a one-story house, which would not rob 740 and 732 Mission Park Drive as much of their sunlight, privacy, and views. Thank you very much. Also, P.S., where is the sewer line and water meter line for this project?
Thank you. Here we have a speaker online, Juliana Bertelson.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So first of all, I really thank the Board of Architectural Review that you came out in person and when the story polls were there and saw the project from the neighbor's property. I know the neighbor to the south, Carl Hallback, had complained that he would feel kind of corridored in if there was like the 6-foot fence on his property line that the GRS proposed because there's a 2.5-foot drop on the retaining wall. So one comment I made at the last meeting was it might be really nice to have a hedge there. And by that, I don't mean oleanders. I mean, you know, like those chokeberry hedges. I don't know the Latin name, but they grow really tall. They're really dense. Sometimes you can't even tell there's like a house behind it. They give a lot of privacy. That was a comment I made. And since that time, the Giarettas wrote a letter to Carl, whose view, he's the one who gets his view the most blocked, that they want to block it. And they wrote him a letter saying they want to build a fence there and could he pay for half of it? So I just don't see that as being very neighborly. I'm not sure if he has a variance with the right to view on his property deed, but the other thing is it was mentioned that the deck has been brought back 18 inches. So it's about 18 inches between any structure and the property line, 8 feet before the house, but like just 18 inches between the deck, which isn't a lot, which is another point about the deck. The last time I looked, the deck was, I believe, 1,500 square feet at least, which is like 3 Lobero stages plus another 307 square feet, which is actually really large. That's a lot of deck. So there's no house on either side of the street of the whole road that has that much deck. So I don't know how much you care about something fitting in, but it made me think about what is the code for decks? How often do you have to put those anchors down? Do they need cement? How does that affect the critical root zone? And it's just, it's a little hard to picture. Yeah, and I've been to the assessor's office and the planning commission office, and that the house that Mike is in, so one owner used to own that and the Giarettas and yard. As we all know, he got into debt. He was in default of his mortgage. He split like there's two lot splits. There's like 3 parcels. He sold off 2, but it made his own lot smaller than the allowable lot size at that time. So in the 1980s, like at that time, there was like a Santa Barbara SBAR guy was mentioning like, hey, that's lower than the allowable lot size. We don't know how he did it because nobody's been able to show me a variance that he got permission to do that. But the surveyor, we think that he got a surveyor. He paid for his own surveyor because he's in the county instead of the city checking on the lot size, which that's going to be between the county and like the neighbors. But so this property just brings up a little issue, but ultimately, like at 762, we had a big weed problem. I tried getting goats. They were really loud. Neighbors complained and like they would cry when I would leave. And I decided to give them to a goat farm because it didn't work out for the neighborhood. But I don't really see kind of a neighborhoodly caringness in these plans.
That was the 3-minute mark, by the way, Juliana.
Okay,
So wrap
that's
up,
it. Thank
please.
you.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Anyone else from the public that would like to speak on this item? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for comments. Actually, I have a question or two first. And Juliana, would you mind muting yourself? And there you go. Thank you. As far as the pool equipment location, I see it shown here. Is that pool equipment cannot be in the setback, right? Or it depends on the.
It's a minimum of 5 feet and
Okay, so this is showing a very small area, which is not sufficient for pool equipment. So I'm wondering if you studied, the actual, typically it's a minimum of.
Yes, it started the pool equipment. First of all, we had located the pool.
Jonathan, you zoom in on that area.
side, and, we were requested to move it from the north side because concern of noise. Although, all the equipment is the we were proposing were way below the noise limit of the county. And
This is what you're showing us, the pool equipment?
yes, that's what it is. So the pool company has plans and that I show that they fit inside that area.
Chris,
with
that's
that.
under the overhang. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have a concern of fitting it there.
Yeah, let's go to the other plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
not the, can you, is that on the side? Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, we can certainly move it back to the north side. I mean, there is.
No, I think it's just.
So,
you're
but
not showing
the
enough.
plans I've
Hold on,
seen, they
sir.
fit there.
Just a minute, thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's under the roof overhang, but that's what, 3 by 5, and it's gonna be at least double that size. So I just wanted to make you aware that it's going to be a lot bigger than that for the pool equipment. So just take that under advisement. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
yeah.
be
We
clear
will
on-
not go over the 5 foot.
And then I think, that was it for my question. Anyone else have
I
questions?
have a couple of questions. The comment about the deck, where exactly is the deck? Is that the one by the pool or the one on the side or what
Yeah,
is
so
it?
if we pull back, if you go to the floor plan above or the side plan above, it's the one to the,
Can you point
What's the
the
question?
deck? Which one is?
so where the angle begins right there and it meets the building to the left. Whoever has a cursor. Right.
The deck, I'm talking about the deck.
Oh, is she talking about the deck, overall deck and
Deck.
everything? Oh,
Deck.
oh, yeah. You
Here.
can see that on the bottom, the south side.
That's not 1,500 square feet. I mean, I think that's what I heard.
Oh, where? What's the question, Alex?
Where are the decks? I mean, is that,
There's deck here, and this is all deck, right? And then
Yes.
this is.
That's all deck.
That's
That's
deck also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a step down, like right here, maybe?
No, all that, so areas that you have that are the large areas that are red, those are the deck areas.
okay,
And then to the north, there's little areas that are decks because we're exiting off the building and then we're onto a deck and then there's just stairs on either side of that deck.
So all of those decks are indeed 1,500 square feet. Is that what we're talking about?
It could be close to that. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Another question, if you go to the elevations and you can blow up this little section there, I wanted to take a look.
That's the north elevation.
Yeah, yeah, that section right there. So what are the plate heights?
The plate heights on the lower level are 9 feet, and the plate heights on the second level are 8 feet.
8 feet.
But we also
And you go to
raised
the
it because the
section.
site is falling. So as it goes back towards to the street, it goes up.
Yeah. Okay, can you blow it up? Yeah. So that what we have. Okay.
And then, yeah, you can see the neighbors, Michael's property there to the right.
Right. Okay. Very good. Okay. And there was a question about the comment about the windows. So can you?
Yeah, and just for clarification on
North
that,
elevation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right there. It's. I think it's. Next,
if you go north or go up,
Yeah.
those windows right
Those
there.
are the three windows that the.
Yeah, so those three windows in the middle,
Okay,
which are the
thank you.
smaller
Yep.
ones,
Yep.
those are all frosted.
Okay.
And the only window that we did say that we would like to be,
Okay. Thank
the
you.
normal window would be the one on the far left.
Good enough.
So, sorry, I want to finish that thought. So these are all three frosted or no?
No, only the two in the middle.
Those are frosted and
Correct.
this is regular?
And that's a regular window. I mean, we're proposing a regular window. That's flanking the master bed
Right.
on that side.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to
That's
move
it.
on with comments, Alex?
That's it. Well, I think the applicant has done just about everything that we asked for. I was a little surprised with the change of pitch of the roof. I imagine that you want more height, but it is not the style of Spanish houses. Spanish houses are 4 on 12, Italians on 5 on 12, 6 on 12. It looks odd with a two-piece mission tile. It's just in general. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. I think I'd like to see more information about the oaks next time, maybe when they do to final, but I think it's getting closer to a very preliminary.
Mr. Verdiak?
Did you increase the roof slope to accommodate the solar panels?
Did, yeah. The client really would like, again, to be, sort of as much of it.
Yes, the slope of the roof is close to the optimal for Santa Barbara area. And the optimal slope to put the solar panels. And, we're trying really hard to avoid to have a gas heating in the house because we know that, the community is going in that direction as far as I understand it. And therefore we will need to use more electricity and we need a space on the roofs. And the only way to achieve that was to go to the gable, roof and having the right slope for
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? How, do you have sun there? Aren't those trees kind of, are you actually going to get sun on that roof?
Yeah, that's what they are facing. First of all, yeah. Part of the reason why we need more surface is because, there are the oak trees. So when the sun is very low, the exposure will be less. But
So are you planning on,
the feedback we received so far from is we should be able to cover the needs for the house essentially.
so are you planning
We'll
to,
have to import electricity from there.
got it. Are you planning to prune those, top those trees so that you get better solar access?
We could, right now it's not in the plan, but it's certainly something we could consider if that's a suggestion. I would prefer to keep the oak trees as intact as possible because we are already encroaching a little bit because we had to move as far as possible from the neighbor to give him more space.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
It's-
Thank you.
It's
Sorry, John, continue.
Well, anyway, I appreciate all the accommodations you've made. And I think it's going to be a successful project.
Ms. Frasher?
Yeah, I think you've done a lot to work with the constraints of this site. And I am struggling with the 6 and 12 roof pitch as well. I think it'd be better, given all of the issues, to stay at 4 and 12. I mean, you're gonna probably have a combination of your solar and a heat pump of some kind. So, and you do have the trees are gonna be shading it, so I don't know. That's my one concern. That it should be the lower pitch. I mean, when it was a hip, it was better still. So now you've added roof and you've added height, both for the solar.
Okay. Sorry. Mr. Richards?
Yeah, there wasn't a landscape plan to evaluate, so I wasn't at the previous meeting, so I haven't seen the landscape plan and I can't comment to it. But I think the moves that you made with the house demonstrate that you're working, you know, in response to the board and to your neighbors as best you can. You know, obviously you have goals for your home, and I think it's a nice home. When this home is built there, I think all the neighbors are probably going to be happy with what's there. So I support it.
We don't have the landscape plan. do we? I don't think so. Anyway, Ms. Grubb?
So we need to see the landscape plans, but I would advise against the bamboo being the screening hedge. I would probably recommend like a bay laurel or a Carolina cherry. Just a bamboo, even if it's a clumping bamboo, can run, and it's hard to maintain it at a specific height. So, and width, yeah. I think the proposed location for the mitigation oak looks like it's probably the only spot for it. The arborist report looked like it wasn't clear on, it said there will be impacts to the trees oaks 1 through 5, but he isn't requiring mitigation, he's requiring monitoring, which seems acceptable in this case because we don't have a lot of room for mitigation oaks, but I would like him to quantify if it's if they're having the over the 20% impacts to the trees, because those are considered, that's considered like you have that you have to replace the tree, you have to mitigate for it. So, and then otherwise we can't really speak to the landscape plan at this point, but I would advise that make sure your landscape plan is to the level of design that your architecture is, if that makes sense.
Mr. Bloomer? Okay. Okay, yeah, I agree with most of what's been said. A couple additional things. I would say show the pool equipment pad accurately, size-wise. That north window, the one I think that unfortunately should also be opaque to some extent, because that's the one window that looks directly down into the neighbor's yard. So I know it's just next to the bed, but I can just imagine that being not so pleasant for both parties, really. And then could you go to the site plan, please, Jonathan? The last thing, yeah, definitely want to see more of the landscape or some landscape plan. And also, because it's such an oak heavy site, I would encourage mostly natives in the plan. And okay, bamboo's not. Anyway, just double check it. But also this 18 inches is not enough for a useful hedge. So that should be more like 3 feet. Can you zoom into those wood decks, kind of in the backyard, I guess? Yeah, I would say at least 2.5 or 3 feet. And I want to just show you what maybe you could do with the deck. Pan over, there you go, that's perfect. So this deck is unnecessarily large. I would consider doing something like that to give yourself more hedge. This one just needs to move in. 18 inches, not really Where the tree, I mean, you have to carefully, yeah. But yeah, and that's the other thing is having a hedge here and the conflict with the tree, we just gotta be careful what's planted and, you know, but I would say we need more reduction in the deck to get more planting buffer between the two properties. I think that was my only additional comment. So that brings us to the point where someone could make a motion.
No.
No.
The pitch has changed, but not the height. It's slightly higher. Yeah, it's not a change. I don't know. I don't remember. What the exact change. It's taller. It was.
On the ridge. Yeah, it would be because of the increase.
It,
Okay, great. Thank you. So. anyone want-
Yeah, I think it's ready for a preliminary approval. I think that the roof pitch needs to go back to 4-on-12 to match the style of the house. We'll lower it about 4-on-12, about 18 inches or so. Maybe, but it's also the looks of the house is more consistent, and the comments on the deck and we need to see the landscaping. So those are the three areas I think that need assistance. As far as the windows, maybe if you can go to the north elevation again, I wonder if there's a compromise there about that north window. If the bottom part could be maybe, let's see, because it's partition, right? It has, can you go, blow that section up? Yeah, maybe like, I don't know. You can imagine a 5-foot head, where will it be? Maybe we'll hit the middle panes. At least the top should be clear. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard. I understand the comment on the private. Kind of hard just to tell people not to.
Well, the other thing.
It's a north view too. It's probably the La Cumbre Peak.
Nice to have the,
Peak from there.
right. The other option is to, I was going to suggest that maybe neighbors talk and offer to, purchase and put a specimen tree on his side of the property, like some kind of an olive tree or something that helps with that sort of.
I can see where, it's our time now to talk. I can see a compromise of having at least the lower two panes at least to be opaque or translucent, like so some light goes in, but the middle.
That'd be open.
Maybe I'm not sure about the middle one. Anyway, study that just to see what you can do. I think to condition it to be completely opaque, it's just
okay.
cruel.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay, so those are the three things. The something about the windows, the roof pitch, the landscaping, the four things, and the deck. Those are the four areas.
Okay. Joe, do you have any questions on the comments?
No, Mr. Chair, I think I got all those.
Okay, so we have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Val. All of those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I get a clarification? Are we moving to preliminary? Are we done with conceptual?
Yeah, you just got a preliminary approval.
Oh, okay.
And
then I'll be quiet. Thank
you.
you.
You'll come back to full board for final.
But it was preliminary with comments, so you got to address those comments. Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Moving back to item number 7, which I need to step down for, and Josh will take over.
Yeah. All right, do we have our applicants for item number 7, Gitmore Demo Rebuild? This is a request of Christy Curtis, agent for Francine Ellis Gitmore, to consider conceptual review of a single-family residence remodel. All right there, fella? Gentlemen, can you please exit the hearing room? Take your conversation out of the room, please. We're having a hearing. Welcome. All right, go ahead and make your presentation.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Patricio Nava, and I'm helping on this particular case to the Gitomer family. It's an enforcement case that came on October 2022, last year. And as you see, if we can see the A1. Okay, that's the site plan. This parcel is very large, 1.6 acres, which is 73,000 square feet. The structure is very small compared with the site, which is 1,600 square feet, more or less. And the issue was that the owners bought the property and tried to enhance the property and doing some work, but since the property is old, well, the old structure was from 1932, which it was all damaged. All the damage wasn't visible. But when they start to do some fixing, they found out that literally the whole structure was rotten and water damaged. So they start to do work and they start to literally demo and do like the scope of work said. They start to do the rebuild from the seal, literally from the seal place foundation, which remains.
So you're gonna run out of time. So what you're saying is that the owners of the property found that their structure was substandard and now they want to rebuild it. Please clarify, what was the nature of the, you said that there was a violation on the property. Can you tell us what the specifics of that are?
Okay, the violations, they start to do the remodel without a permit.
Say that again, sorry.
They start to do the rebuild remodel with not permit.
Okay, so they started remodeling a substandard building with no permit and then they were told to go get a permit.
Yes.
Okay, so show us the location of the new proposed work on this site plan. Show us the floor plans and elevations and give us a
Right there on
presentation of the proposed work.
Okay, on single family residence, the structure is right there on.
Okay, next slide,
And
please.
next, if we see the page A2.
Okay, so this is a new residence, or is it an addition to an existing residence?
Yeah,
What is it?
let me see.
Is it an
H2?
existing, is it a new residence or is it an addition to an existing residence?
No, the new residence, I'll say, is sit on the same footprint that the former residence,
Okay, got it. But it's all 100% brand new structure.
from the seal plate to the top, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, good. So let's have a look at the elevations then. In addition to the proposal for the new residence, are you proposing any new driveways, landscaping or hardscape or?
No, the landscape is gonna be dealt with my partner, but
So are you gonna make?
we have a landscape plans.
Okay, good. So we'll see that.
So if you can see the sheet A21, which is
And one more
right there,
question. Are you proposing any other structures, any accessory buildings or?
Nope.
Okay,
no,
this residence,
just wanna show that was the former structure,
perfect,
which the new one rises above the same footprint.
right.
So,
All right, let's see the new one again.
Is it the same footprint or is there additions?
no, it's the same footprint.
Same exact footprint?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, and that's the new proposed structure.
Get it. All right. And then what else we got? What's the next slide? All right, very good. And sir, can you explain what kind of exterior finishes you're planning? I see a metal roof and siding. Can you just describe what you're presenting?
Yeah, and We sent a new kind of set of plans, but they were not able to update, I guess.
Okay, just to.
So on my scope of work,
Huh.
I said that the exterior finishes was going to be stucco, but now we are bringing back to siding, which was the former finish.
Okay.
And literally what we are replacing, it's the roof. The former roof was a shingle. Now we are proposing a metal roof.
Can you tell us what color roof you're proposing?
We have let's see here on the. Okay, the color of the roof is dark. The name of the color is musket.
Is that a gray color, sir?
Yeah, what's it?
Is that gray?
Yeah, it's gray. It's mostly dark.
Okay,
to
and then
black.
the siding and trim, what color paint are you planning?
The siding on trim also is gonna be black. It's a dark palette.
Nice, the window trims in metal, black?
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
as well?
Everything is dark.
Okay,
I tried to do some rendering, but it didn't come out very nice. But I can show you right there here.
that to Jonathan, who will pass that around. All right, so I think you've pretty much covered it. Doesn't look too complicated what you're doing. I think the next, it's nice, but the next thing we want to see is the landscape plan. Do you have a presentation for the landscape design?
Hi, Nakos from Common Ground Landscape Architecture, presenting. There's a lot of existing landscape that we're proposing to remain. The main areas are directly around the house and at the beginning of the driveway. We'll be proposing a few new hedges along the driveway. So if you'll go down, this sheet actually shows some of along San Roque Road, there's planting that we would like to keep in front of the residence that was under construction, then got tagged. There's existing planting that we're proposing to keep, some nice citrus trees and succulents that work well in a high fire area. Can you go to the next page? This is the extent of the wood decking that we're going to be doing, all permeable decking. Can you go on to the next slide, please?
Or what was the material around the swimming pool, the existing, is that existing?
That is existing decking.
Okay.
We're proposing to keep the existing structure and change it to a some sort of polymer wood that is okay in a high fire area.
So the swimming pool is surrounded by a wood deck.
It is.
Going to change it to a high fire material or resistive material. Okay, got it. And that's meant to match the deck that you're putting around the house, yes? Okay, good. Before we go deeper into the landscape planting and so forth, are there any changes proposed or anything happening with the driveway, how it connects to the main thoroughfare and how it approaches the house, or is that existing to remain or?
Existing to remain.
Okay, and what's the surface of the driveway?
Asphalt.
Asphalt, okay. All right, continue, please.
The areas that we're changing are the pink and blue areas, adding new irrigation, preliminary still, but can you go down to the next slide? Thank you. Those are the planting areas, new planting areas shown in brown. We're also proposing a hedge to screen the driveway entry.
But I think, yeah, for clarity, the green area indicates existing landscape to remain, the tan area, proposed renovated landscape, and then existing, the latter seems to be existing non-irrigated landscape, which is off to the right down.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Very
And
good.
that's a public road along the bottom there. Is that correct?
Yes, the residence is quite above the road. Is that what?
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's a public road or is that like a private road? It's a public road.
Over to, so
You can walk, you can approach and point if it's easier for you. So the parking area on the slide to the right off that offshoot drive, what is, that's parking above the property, right? Or the residence? Right? And then there's another parking area to the left on this slide that represents the kind of front door. Yeah. And those are both existing. Okay. Show us what you're planting.
What was that?
Show us what you're planting.
I know, yeah, we should,
Good stuff.
we should, right. So those are the natives. This area is, a coast live oak area. We have an arborist report or biologist report. So all of the planting that we're proposing has to match that biologist report, which is what we're going for with all those plants right there. There's no changes in the EHS zone that are going to be any hardscape changes. So it's only planting in those EHS zones.
Okay, well, I think for conceptual review, I think that's pretty good. So thank you for that. I just have a quick question for a couple quick questions for the architect. First question, just, I know you have an existing condition that you're remediating or remodeling. Going on?
I just gotta.
It's been one of those days. Can you just go to the site plan real quick? Have you had a chance to review your proposals with the fire department to check to see if they're in agreement with your layouts? I know that they have increased their requirements over the many years in terms of what they like to have in terms of fire department access and so forth.
They're waiting for the land use permit in order to come out. I've requested them. They've seen the plans and they're just waiting.
So the they is the fire department? So you've spoken with them and showed them what you're proposing? Or do they have any exception or concern about it?
Not so far.
Okay, I'm just gonna advise that you keep doing that because if you get a final approval here and then the fire department shows up in plan check and doesn't like what you have, you're gonna have to go back to the beginning of the line and start over. So I advise that you, since it's an existing condition that they may or may not agree with. So it looks like it's fine, but it just, it's a serious issue that comes up. So, okay. Any other questions from board members? Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Having seen or heard from no public members, we'll bring it back to the board for comments. Let me just go down the line, starting with Valerie.
Yeah, I just want to say that one of the biggest values of having gotten stuck into going through the permit process is in fact the high fire aspect of it. And that is going to be critical all the way through the building department. It affects your details, it affects your materials. That and Title 24 in the windows and doors. So your design looks nice, but those issues are going to be what's going to shape the way this comes out.
Okay. Mr. Verdiak.
Well, I think that your design, looks nice, and I think that Valerie's points are well taken, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, all materials we are proposing are fire resistant and according to the code.
Okay, we're gonna just take comments right now. There's no need for a conversation here just yet. So, Mr. Richards, I don't know how much you're able to comment. I guess you saw the presentation of the landscape. So I'm gonna let the landscape architects here give their comments. Alex, I'll let you go last.
Well, from the photos, it was kind of tough to evaluate how that shape of the deck around the pool kind of fits in with the pool. Anyhow, it just looked a little bit odd in the plan, but if it's existing and it works for them, I don't have a problem with it. And my only other comment was gonna be maybe your hedge could be loosened up a little bit, but other than that, you're working within the constraints of then working under the oak trees, your plant list seems appropriate. Seems like they're just trying to clean up the property, so support project.
Scrub,
Those are my comments too. I don't have anything.
thank you. All right, Mr. Peugeot, and Mr. Peugeot, would you please, I think there's some missing elements in the drawings and documentation. Can you kind of help form some comments around what we want to see coming back in terms of
Yeah, we're gonna need to see sections and details, window details, eave details. I imagine that you're going to use the hardy trim, the manufactured siding, because wood is gonna be an issue for the building department, unless you put, gypsum board beneath. But anyway, you have to bring your materials, your sections and details. I think it's a perfectly approvable project. It's almost, it could almost be treated at consent. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Okay, I'll kind of try to summarize. I think from a mass bulk and scale standpoint, the board's has no exception with what's being presented here. It seems like a very fine little residence being proposed. Neighborhood compatibility doesn't seem to be an issue. Architectural style seems appropriate. The general discussion on materials seems appropriate. So I think to add to any of the comments that have been given or clarify them, I think the board would like you to return and clarify how this project will comply with high fire regulation. That means, explain to us that the items that you're proposing will actually work and make it through the ordinance process and building code review. So make sure to affirm that in your next presentation. Also, I think the board's advising you to make sure the fire department is in agreement with the proposal of the project in terms of their concerns. After this, you'll have a planner, so I guess there'll be more further discussion about that, just since it's conceptual. So please work with your planner to make sure that you come back able to prove to us that everything works with all the departmental reviews so we can move you through. I think the board's probably in a mood to put this on the agenda for preliminary and final. Is it full board or consent? What do you guys feel? Do you want to see this again? Okay, well, I think it's a minor project and it doesn't seem to have any controversy. So let's move this to the consent agenda for a preliminary and final comments we've provided. I would also add a comment. There's a bit of lacking information on plate heights and finished floors and with respect to the hillside. And since this is on a slope, I think just making sure that you're able to document clearly how this project complies with the hillside, any kind of hillside or height restrictions that may be applied in this zone. I don't believe this is a hillside project, is it? I mean, I don't think it's ridgeline, but if this is a hillside rural project, there's some pretty restrictive height requirements and they need to be documented. So please work with your planner to indicate that on your plans. I don't think there's any other elements of the drawings that we would need for that.
Right.
Sure you return, if you want to move this through, come back with a full color palette, a materials
Lighting.
board,
Exterior lighting.
make sure it's downward casting, dark sky compliant, and come back with all the relevant architectural details and landscaping details. And I think we might be able to move
Yeah.
this through quickly.
And that would include decks and railings too.
Yeah.
And decks in high fire have a lot of issues.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll see you. See you.
Not comment.
No, no.
To get the land
Need to
use.
wrap this up. Sorry.
Okay.
You can talk to
He's
your,
gonna say that.
you have questions? I know. Talk to your planner. You're gonna get a planner assigned. You can bug them. They get paid to answer your questions. I don't.
Take yes for an answer.
They already have a planner. All right, perfect. Okay, is Chris Gilliland back? There he is, Gilliland. What did I say?
Okay, last but not least.
Excellent job, Mr. Bloomer.
You're not Ken Dixon.
It's not a talent show.
Okay, item number 8 and the final item of the day, Tunnel Ridge LLC retaining walls, request of Ken Dixon, agent for Kathy Jackson, to consider for conceptual review, a new great room addition of 238 square feet, patio of 305 square feet, concrete patio of 1,000 square feet, driveway of 156 square feet, and drilled prior retaining wall system for hillside protection. 2621 Tunnel Ridge Lane in Mission Canyon area. And then, okay, that's it. So we have our applicant here. Please state your name for the record.
Kyle Dixon, Windward Design Services. And Mark Winke, architect.
Great, welcome, gentlemen. Give you, looks fairly minor, so if you can just give us a quick presentation on what we're looking at, that would be appreciated.
So the proposed project here shows that retaining wall on the lower side of the hill. This was due to like a washout from the recent rains. So we're proposing to rebuild about an 8-foot tall retaining wall along that side. And as you can see that view, there's a existing wooden pergola around the outside of the property that will be demolished. And we'll be replacing it with a metal structure patio cover just over the view end at the front of the main property. The living room will be expanded to create a great room. So we're going to do a little pop out, 240 square foot pop out there. It'll have windows for more fenestration, more natural light coming in along that side.
Elevations?
Do you mind? So right here, you'll see in those views, this is kind of the concept for those metal. This is a product made by Structure. They're prefabricated. And what we'll be doing is bringing that in place of the wooden pergola that's to be removed. This will, I believe the overhang is about 10 feet off the side of the building. And if you make your way to the next page, all through this high fire notes, all this. So right here, you'll see our site plan. The driveway right now is golden pebble, and we'll just be replacing it and adding on to that. There's a 5-foot planter that follows the length of that proposed retaining wall, which will be planted through. There is going to be a lot of soil disruption for the retaining wall, and we do not have a landscape plan to present, but so far the concept is to go with native plants, drought tolerant, high root systems for hillside retention. The wall at 8 feet along the southern side of the hill, the thought is to go with plants that have a bit of a tall structure to them, just to kind of mask that mass wall, hide some of the bulkiness of the retaining wall along that the southern side. If you want to keep moving on to the next page, we can go past the BMPs. We'll get into the elevations of the property. I want to keep moving forward. So there's just an example of the existing pergola that wrapped around the property, and that will all be removed. I believe the timber that it's made out of now is a bit aged. And as we go down to the next page, you'll see the proposal. So that patio section along the south where you see that 5-foot planter wall, that'll be the extent of the new pergola. And then that blue area represents the pop out for the great room. The pitch of that roof is going to be flat, and you can see that in section just to give it a little bit more volume. As we move down through these sheets, we can go past that. Here we go. So here are our proposed elevation, or sorry, the existing elevations of the home. The main one along that south elevation there, you can see the existing roof pitch. And then as we move down into the next renders, here the west elevation shows what the intent is with the new pop out. So that flat roof sits a little bit higher. I believe it's 8 inches taller than the existing ridge of the main residence. And it'll just be mostly glass. It's steel supports and then our steel patio cover. You can actually see as well in that south elevation beneath the extent of that pergola and the pop out.
Say it's not really flat, it's like 1.5, 12.
That's good. And then if we want to keep going through. So the only real thing to note here, I think, which wraps up our presentation is the depth of that retaining wall. So we will be doing pier systems. And that's where we assume that it'll be about 8 feet tall when looking at it from the south side of the hill.
It'd probably be non-contiguous. It'll be 8 feet, then 7, then 6, then 8, 3, and then whatever.
It does.
Okay, is that it? Great, thank you, gentlemen. Questions from the board?
You have photos looking at this property from wherever, distant views, to see what this wall is going to look like?
Nothing from down the hill looking up towards it. We do have some existing photos of the site at the beginning of the presentation. I think it's about probably page 3 or 4.
How visible is this property to a neighborhood?
There's nothing like preventing any direct line of sight of the house on the hillside.
So it is very visible.
Yeah, you can see the house. As you can see here with the view out that back, that top right corner, images 3, 4. Image 2 shows the wall that was currently there. So there is planting in front, but some of that will be removed to provide the new retaining wall. But as far as any like blockage or any like tall landscaping, there's nothing preventing the view.
What's the material in the new wall?
It's going to be a solid masonry, like concrete filled with rebar support into drill piers.
And then what, stuccoed?
Yeah.
Can you go to sheet 14? I think this shows a lot. I mean, really.
Zephyr snows.
I think probably big file again.
The layers are not flattened, you know, some.
Oh, that's 14? Shit. It's a different one. Go to the next sheet, maybe? 15? Yeah. Question, just, is there a reason that this couldn't take place? Just having that wall continue, because it seems like a real pinch point right here.
We're just following the natural contours from the survey is mostly what led to this.
Okay. Does that mean it would get too tall right there if in this location?
It's gonna get regraded anyways after they're done with all the.
Yeah.
So it's fairly steep as you saw from the graph.
Yeah. Yeah, I can kind of hear you.
So there's no reason not to do this, other than we originally wanted to just be the most sensible, which was to keep along the setback of the existing.
Yeah. Okay, but just a thought. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I had a similar question. Yeah, the shape of that wall it's really harsh. And does it have to do because of it's easier to build a great beam at 45-degree angles and so forth? I mean, it's a comment now. I think it would be softer if it was more natural looking. I guess it's a comment, but that way I was wondering what your thinking was about that. No.
Yeah, we definitely can adjust to accommodate that. Our initial intent, the incoming retaining wall along the right-hand side is following the existing driveway line as it was the wall before it was washed out. And then it was just maintaining contour just to avoid any drastic need to excavate.
Okay, other questions? Okay, public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? You, okay. When you're finished, can you please fill out a speaker slip and bring it back and give it to Jonathan? That's okay. Yeah, after, and then you'll have 3 minutes to make your comment whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name's Gary Rees. I live at 1120 Palomino Road, which is just downhill and to the southwest from this property. Yes, it is visible from our house. I don't have any problems with what is proposed for the house or the wall, the shape of the wall. None of that matters. It has been noted quite a few times in scientific journals that water tends to flow downhill under the influence of gravity. There is a proposal here to add 131 cubic yards of dirt. We've noticed that when dirt gets saturated with water, it follows the same influence as water and tends to go downhill. During last January's rain, we received, my neighbors got more scientific and technical background than I do. I had 5 neighbors come and help to remove, he said, about 8 cubic yards of mud from my driveway, which made our driveway impassable. The water from there and the mud went down onto the private road that provides the access to 7 houses. And that was a day when garbage was supposed to be collected. The trucks tried to come up to collect the garbage and went straight back down again with mud. So we had to take all of our garbage cans down to a place where they could be collected. And then we had to use a great deal of physical labor and water to move the mud off our driveway and then off the private road, which involved having a pressure washer and so on. So my concern is that instead of just changing the direction of flow in a minor way and having it all come down towards us, some of that water needs to be directed to go to the south along the Tunnel Ridge Road drainage. And that's my concern.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, there's no one else here, so no more public comment, and we'll bring it back to the board for our comments. Anyone? Let's just start with Val.
Well, I think we need a real landscape plan for how the wall's gonna be screened and more information for how to make the shape of it more aesthetic. Certainly the drainage issues for properties below sound like very important that you need to work out with your engineering and make sure that you're improving the situation in all ways with this. But on the elevation, it looks like the windows, the upper clear stories are just going straight to the roof. Is there structure for them? Or is that really the way it's going to be when you get to your construction drawings?
So the way we're showing the support system is the pergola comes into a header over those 3 doorways.
Right.
And then we have post supports through the left and right sides of all 3 of those fenestration openings. And then it's going to be blocking above at the ridge level.
But yes.
So that's the support.
Yeah, that's our,
the-
that's how we're structurally securing
Above.
the fenestration.
Is right in the roof.
Hmm.
Okay.
Those
Okay.
are rain barrels? What's going on with those things?
They're small hot tubs.
Old plunge. Okay, Mr. Verdiak.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you're doing this work and perhaps you could do something that would enhance those two elevations, the end elevations, which are not very attractive. And perhaps landscaping or some trellis or something like that to break that plane there. And I guess what I'm saying, as long as you're at it, you know, maybe you could study those problems and.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Mr. Peugeot.
I think it's a fine project. I'll repeat my comment about making the retaining wall more organic looking and putting some landscaping to cover it up. That's it.
Ms. Grubb.
Yeah, I just want to see the landscape plan. Any other comments?
Okay, Mr. Richards.
Yeah, could you go to the last sheet with the renderings? I don't have a problem with your project and I understand. Yeah, or maybe I have, my renderings look a little different, but you're building this wall that's gotten to be 8 feet tall and then using a planter for a barrier, and I just looking at it was thinking, I don't know, why not move the wall back and build some type of a deck that has a railing at it, and your wall would be a lot shorter. It just seems like an inefficient way of trying to claim space, because you're establishing planting as your safety, and you're having to build this wall that's way out over the slope to get yourself the 3 feet of planting space, when if you just built the deck with a railing, the wall could be much shorter, probably save you a ton of cost. So it seems like an inefficient way to try to gain space. And I understand you're probably looking for this, you know, awesome view without anything restricting it. But on another note, like whatever plant you're going to use there for safety, I mean, if you have children there or something, it's going to have to be something that's very defined in its ability of preventing somebody from going over an 8-foot fall.
Sure.
And right now you're showing what is like essentially a spiky agave. And so you can have these people like hanging out next to this really sharp plant. I just would have suggest maybe you could evaluate the combination of walls, and I think a deck system would be more efficient with like a cable rail right there, and probably cost you half as much to build the walls. They could be half as high. So.
Okay, did you already go? Yeah. Mr. Blummer.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have anything additional either. So this is here for conceptual. I think return full board prelim / final, if you have it all in order, when ready. All right, that'll do it. Thank you, gentlemen.
And bring a photograph from the distant view so that we have a better context of what this is going to look like.
Yeah, I'll include more from outside. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. And that concludes the SBAR meeting for today and my run as chair. Thank you for all the support.
Campaign